right now in South Africa, what started as a protest has turned into flames, fear, and serious questions about unity in Africa. Cars burned, street blocked, and one incident that changed everything. Now, a report coming out of Eastern London in the Eastern Cape shows that a protest linked to the controversial issue of the so-called Nigerian has escalated rapidly. The demonstrations were allegedly organized by a group known as March for March movement, a movement that has been vocal about local economic frustrations and foreign business presence. At first, it was just another march, but then everything changed.
Guys, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button and subscribe. These videos take quite a long time to make, so if you could help me out, I'll love you forever. Thank you all for your support. Now let's get back to this crazy story.
Now, according to Circulating Report and Eyewitness News, tensions reached a breaking point after an alleged stabbing incident involving a South African resident. The movement appears to have turned the protest into chaos. And after that, the crowd became aggressive. Anger spilled into the street, and within hours, vehicles were set on fire.
So that they can duck for cover. But things have become really ugly and violent here, Gareth. And this is now a worry for those who came and said, as political leaders, we are also here to call for change. It's a peaceful march, a peaceful protest, and we don't want any forms or acts of violence. But it seems not everyone agrees with those sentiments. They are now saying matters have to be taken into their own hands. An incident that was triggered by someone who was stabbed earlier, allegedly by business owners from Ethiopia. We will still try and get clarity on those allegations, but what I can say, the two individuals that we saw bleeding are being rushed to the hospital to receive medical treatment.
All right, Ronald Masunda, we're going to stay on your picture for now. Ronald, go ahead and move around as you and our camera team need to. Of course, Ronald and his team need to stay as safe as possible. Ronald trying to move along with the...
Shops and properties were damaged. Smoke filled the sky in parts of the city.
People, everyone is basically, well, you can see, Stephen, there are the visuals. A number of taxis, well, seems like there are some of them, not just taxis, but private-owned businesses burning up in flames. Now, this is where they had actually told us to turn back or to switch off the cameras.
And Sipa, I mean, to set a car alight like that, it's actually quite a hard thing to do. They're designed not to catch a light like this, so this is quite extreme, what we're seeing here. These vehicles alight in this way. Utterly extraordinary what we're seeing. You can hear the crackling as well in the background.
Oh yes, Stephen, you can hear the crackling. We just want to move a bit away so we're at a safe distance, because remember, these are cars that had petrol, these are cars that have engines, so they might just blow up. So we want to be at a safe distance should that happen. Now, to tell you that on the other side of the street, we see where the crowd had actually fallen back to. Majority of the crowd is now onlooking towards a certain area of the CBD. And that particular area, that's where you'd find the butcheries. And those are mostly foreign nationals that are Islamic. Like I said, that even the masjid here has actually been vandalized, kicking down the gates of the masjid. But most of the people, or most of the businesses or the business owners actually took cover inside the masjid, and they closed the gates shortly before the crowds started to come in. Now I can see some of them coming out, foreign nationals here, and the business owners coming out, crying, hands on their heads, seeing the extent of damage to their vehicles. Most of them, of course, these could be delivery vehicles for some of them that they use. We're seeing one bakkie up ahead, which is actually one of a delivery one that they see. Let me see if I can speak to one of them. Hi, sir, come this side, sir. Okay, he says he's running away because all these cars have petrol.
And some social media posts claim the violence was directed at foreign-owned businesses. Although this has not been officially confirmed in full detail, what is clear is that the situation escalated fast and dangerously.
The issue here where a lot of people had raised, and of course traditional leaders had raised, that what had happened in the previous weeks, seeing that video of a so-called Nigerian king being installed in his position here in East London or Kukombo City, showed that it was undermining traditional leadership in the Eastern Cape.
Indeed, and greetings to everyone. We are really pissed off with the circumstances of the past weeks. We really feel undermined because there is no one who can really undermine someone's sovereignty. This is the territory of Amaxhosa, led by King Bululwandle Sandile from the Amakhabe house, which is the right-hand house of King Palo. I am coming from the great house of King Palo, which is the Talega house. But I am not here to represent the Talega house, but as a traditional leader who is leading Amatole local house, I am really pissed off, including the membership of the house that I lead, that Nigerians especially could come to the territory of King Sandile and claim to have a king here. We are appealing to our government to really make it a point that whoever formed part of that event is taken out of the borders of this country with immediate effect, because no one can really undermine the authority of our king. Also, we are aware that most of the foreigners are involved in drugs. We want our law enforcement authorities to make it a point that they check whoever is here, especially the foreigners, whether they are on drugs and those who are trading illegally, including those who are running spaza shops, whether their spaza shops are legal or not. If our government can really take us serious.
And now public reactions across social media have been sharply divided. Some voices are calling this black-on-black violence and urging unity across African nations. Others argue that the protests are rooted in economic frustration, unemployment, and competition over opportunities. Meanwhile, authorities, including the South African Police Service, are being urged to step up, restore calm, and investigate what really happened.
These are the from Bukombo City here in the Eastern Cape. People are really livid. They're saying that they want action taken by government regarding freedoms for foreign nationals. You see people from KwaZulu-Natal. These are Amazulu, Amapinga. They are here. They're saying this is not an Eastern Cape thing. This is a South African thing, a South African problem. problem. Everyone in South Africa is supposed to be a part of this, demonstration. Everyone is supposed to, help in amplifying the voice of South African people. Just now we're speaking to Jacinta. She's saying that it's not only limited to the ceremonies that foreign nationals are having in South Africa, but also what actions or what do foreign nationals do to the people of South Africa? What do they do to women in South Africa? What are their contributions in some of the challenges that are faced by people of South Africa? These are live visuals from Kukombo City in the Eastern Cape, and people want everyone to be a part of this. Now calling on people to come out of their homes and be a part of this march. We are now. I'm going to call in Dada William from the Directives here in the Eastern Cape. Dada, thank you very much for your time. This has got something to do with African spirituality, and a lot of people have been giving different views about that. What are some of your concerns?
Our concerns is we have a problem with our drugs here in East London and across the whole of South Africa. It's very pity that our ANC is not here, our glorious movement ANC is not here to join us. I don't know what's happening with them. We needed them here. We are here to fight against drugs that is destroying our youth, our innocent children. As now our youth turn to drugs because there's no they have the education, the degrees, but there's no jobs for them. That's why some of them turn to drugs. We as the Kwe and the Kwe, we are here to assist our kingdoms, our Xhosa kingdom. Landlu yasekunene kaGagabe, nendlu enkulu kaXhosa, Oscawu. Yeah, enkosi ke that.
Yeah. Nifuna kwenza ntoni? What do you want to happen from here on?
We need changes. We need to kick them out, all the illegal aliens. They must go back to where they come from. And the king must also he should have been coronated there in Nigeria because he is from the Igbo clan.
And about people who are free to, practice their religious ceremonies here in the country. What do you say about that?
Yeah, they are free to practice their religious cultures because nathi kaloku iculture zethu zamaceko ibiyamkele amaXhosa na nomzi kaMnguni bebeyamkela kakhulu isiko yakwaXhosa. Yeah, plus isiko yamaXhosa nayo ikhona apha kumzi wabathwa. Yeah, we need to practice our spiritual. Yeah, because we are not religious people, we are spiritual. Religious people, religion were taken from the spiritual people from Africa. Our people came from Kemet, from Kush, from Nubia. They came from those people, from those lands. Yeah, and then they came down to Africa, to the southern hemisphere, where they met the Khoi and the Twa people. Then the intermarriage and spirituality was shared. So here in Emonti, Kukombo, we need to practice vigorously our spirituality.
You're seeing visuals now of some of the marchers standing outside an eatery and lounge. What they're doing is they're trying to get as many people to come through and be a part of this march. We don't know though if that is their main intention. If this becomes something else or if it won't is dependent on them and also the police force that is present here right now. We do see quite a lot of police presence. There seems to be a common understanding though between the police as well as the marchers. Marchers are reprimanding themselves in the process. The police are just it seems as though there has been a conversation about how to behave throughout this march because no harm has been caused since the beginning of the march. It started I think about 4 kilometers away from where we are right now. So it does appear as though it is peaceful. People are just demonstrating their anger. It is a very it's a sentiment that's quite common among all these people that are here. Traditional leaders are present here. We're speaking just now with William, who is from the Directives, who is speaking to us about how this is not only a religion thing, but it's got to do with spirituality. Traditional leaders are definitely going to engage them about entering people's houses William is saying that bayamosha, which means that they are now becoming a bit unruly. Maybe I think that's a conversation that we should have about making sure that such, marches. Yes.
Yeah, it's bad behavior. That is bad behavior. We can't open the doors of our people. You see,
this situation is not just about one protest. In fact, it raises deeper questions that can African nations truly achieve unity amid rising economic pressure?
Our people don't want to join. It's their own rights. It's their own choices.
Did you have engagements with people from KZN about maybe this march before, so that you make sure that you iron certain things out, you make sure that everyone is doing everything according to the book?
We did not do that. Okay. But what they did when they came, they bowed down to our great house, our Xhosa house. They did bow down. Yeah. So that shows great respect, because they know they are under the kingdom of Kumkanu Chawe. Yeah.
And maybe those are very important things when it comes to tradition, respect, humility, being humble.
Yes, that is a very great respect that the Zulu kingdom is showing us. Yeah, because Zulu kaloku Zulu and Xhosa are one blood. Zulu is the great house and Xhosa is the right hand house. So that respect is still there.
We are right now in Quickney. This is one area where foreign nationals are quite present. This is one area where if you come to KwaKukukombo, you will definitely find foreign nationals. And this is the place where you would anticipate, people becoming unruly. You see people knocking at doors.
Foreign nationals being unfairly targeted.
Of clubs that are owned by foreign nationals. They're trying to, it seems as though they all just spoke about this being a den for foreign nationals. Or maybe den is not the correct word to put it. This is a place where you'd find a lot of foreign nationals. And now there's a lot of commotion, there's a lot of noise, we don't know if this is a display of their anger, or this is people who are just, wanting to provoke others. We don't know. This is what is happening right now, Kukombo, in the Eastern Cape, where they are marching against the coronation of the Nigerian Igbo king, who has been coronated but unauthorized. When we were speaking to the traditional leaders in the province, they were telling us that, according to the law, the Constitution of South Africa, foreign nationals are not allowed to be coronated in this country, even though they coronate themselves, but they will not be recognized, and therefore there is no power really that they have. But they're saying they are concerned that even though they don't have the power, but that might land us in a position, or might land South Africa in a position where there's a lot of dominance.
Or is this a symptom of deeper local struggles
from foreign nationals in the country? So they're saying they want to limit their actions or behavior in the country, so as to avoid, to avoid a situation where you find people who do as they please, who do not respect traditions that are in that particular country. Maybe I should bring in William again about that.
And most importantly, who is responsible when protests turn violent? What we are seeing in East London is more than just a protest. In fact, it's a warning sign, a reminder that Africa's biggest challenge may not come from outside, but from within. If unity is not protected,